Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Today we're talking about how spirituality, modern spirituality, can actually ruin your life, okay? How can spirituality ruin your life? Now, one of my most toxic traits that I've noticed within myself is that I so badly want to see the good in others, okay? I want to give them a chance. I want to respect them. However, I know where that leads to overtrust, overgive. This video is going to be not for the spiritual sheep. Actually, it might just be for the spiritual sheep because it's going to wake them the fuck up. But understand, this video is not for weak-minded people or individuals. This is a very, very crucial point for you to become a spiritual warrior on this journey, to understand a way to get back to source, back to primal again. So certain spiritual concepts can definitely pervert your reality, okay? The more there is of you, the less there is of God. The less there is of you, the more there is of God. So don't think that you're a better person just because you're vegetarian, or just because you did some cacao ceremony in the middle of some jungle, or just because you spoke to some alien entity from Telos. Don't think you're better than others just because you do breath work or plant medicine. This quote is from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. So he said, "The true guru will never humiliate you, nor will he estrange you from yourself. He will constantly bring you back to the fact of your inherent perfection and encourage you to seek within. He knows you need nothing, not even him, and is never tired of reminding you. But this self-appointed guru is more concerned with himself than with his disciples." This is what we're seeing in terms of all of these fakes, these spiritual charlatans coming out of the woodworks. So imagine an ocean, right? That's source energy. And your mind, that's the resistance valve. So the more you overthink, control, stress, the more you close the valve and limit this divine flow. Do you ever wonder why, when you're in flow state, everything just clicks? Because in that moment, there is no resistance. You're not blocking the current. God's energy is moving through you without interference. So Jesus didn't try to perform miracles. They happened because he wasn't blocking the flow. He was a pure vessel. And guess what? That power is within you too. So welcome to the side of spirituality that not many people like to talk about, the dark side. We're sold this dream of enlightenment, inner peace, divine wisdom, and effortless flow through life. But what if I told you that spirituality, if approached incorrectly, can ruin your life? Now, this isn't because the practices are bad, not because the ideas are false, but because spirituality, when it's misused, can disconnect you from reality. It can actually weaken your mind and leave you lost in illusion rather than empowered in truth. What feels good doesn't mean it's always true. So discernment is so key. Discernment is seeing things as they really are. Judgment is projecting your biases onto what you see. So that means discernment is a clear perception, correct? It allows you to assess a situation with wisdom and neutrality. Judgment is ego-driven labeling, if you think about it. It distorts reality by filtering it through personal insecurities, fears, and conditioning. So discernment says, this action leads to suffering, so I'll avoid it. Judgment says, this person is bad because they did this. So discernment is a tool for wisdom and self-mastery, whereas judgment becomes a trap for the ego and division. So one helps you navigate with clarity, the other keeps you trapped in illusion. Knowing the difference is very key. So what are the biggest traps of ineffective spirituality? Number one, nothing is real, so nothing matters fallacy. Yes, on some level, reality is an illusion. But if you take that idea literally, you might start acting like nothing you do has any consequences. And the result? Apathy, indifference, a numbingness, maybe even nihilism, right? If nothing truly matters, why try? Why help anyone? Why build anything? This belief turns potential leaders into these passive cucks, these observers, watching the world burn while they smugly whisper, it's an illusion anyway. Secondly, detachment becoming disconnection. So healthy detachment means not being owned by your emotions Many people confuse this with total disconnection from life. You stop feeling joy, passion, or even caring about your relationships, and you stop taking responsibility because the self is an illusion. This is why so many spiritual people are broke, unmotivated, emotionally numb, because they've confused peace with passivity. And the reason I'm yelling at you guys is because I want to show the tough love, really. This is because I'm very passionate about this topic. I've been in the spirituality space for a while now, understanding that there's a bunch of hogwash mystical smokescreens everywhere. The next is, of course, the spiritual ego. Who can forget that? I mean, the most delusional form of arrogance is the moment where you're more awakened than others. If you find yourself rolling your eyes at low vibration people or looking at those who might have ego problems, guess what? Your ego is just put on a monk robe, okay? True wisdom doesn't need to prove itself. It is. Number 4, losing desire and motivation. A very common phrase after awakening is the loss of drive. Career, relationships, health goals, everything feels meaningless, but yet some people stay here for years. They don't work, they don't build, they don't contribute. They use spirituality as an excuse for their own stagnation. And truthfully, they just lack structure, discipline, and the reason to keep growing. Of course, we have spiritual bypassing, using spirituality to escape and avoid reality. So one of the most toxic patterns in spirituality I've noticed is using higher truths to justify lower behavior. I don't need therapy, I just meditate. Yet they're still emotionally unstable. Money is all an illusion, I don't need it. I just need enough to get by. Meanwhile, they struggle to pay rent and they're in debt. Everything is perfect as it is while ignoring real world problems that they could actually help solve. So spirituality should be used as a tool for empowerment, not disempowerment, not escapism. What is the fix here, guys? What do we do about this? If your spirituality makes you feel less capable, less engaged, less responsible, it's a cop-out. It's not wisdom. So ground your spirituality in action. Detach but don't disconnect. Live life fully without being ruled by it. Transcend but integrate. Bring spiritual wisdom into real life action. And seek truth but stay humble. The moment you believe you've arrived, your growth stops.
We need to be brave enough and courageous enough to change the horrors on this planet. When I first got here to India, my only reason to come here was to see you, because I felt you calling me. You said, the awakened ones, come. I came. I am a Buddha who is hatched. As Sadhguru says, when someone stops the fluctuations of their mind, they are awakened. That is what I have done. I never sat at the foot of any guru. I awakened within myself. I've studied for countless lifetimes and years and learned so much.
The real test of spirituality isn't how enlightened you feel, it's how well you function in the world. Are you healthier, stronger, and more disciplined? Are you able to hold space for others without judgment? Are you creating something of real value? If not, your spirituality isn't working, bro. Your spirituality is actually trapping you. And it's time you wake up from this false awakening. These gurus are supposed to teach us discernment, but sometimes they mix up truth and stories influenced by their own human urges. And so they get trapped themselves within their own quest of wisdom. Fake gurus will tell you things like, you're already there, just be yourself, making the ego feel empowered without any genuine spiritual practice taking place. A lot of people think an intellectual, mental understanding of spirituality is enough. There's book knowledge and then there's an embodied knowledge, right? Two different things. Genuine gurus will actually tell you that this path is difficult, it's harsh. They'll keep tackling your ego, tell you how you're crooked, you're wrong, and egocentrically driven. A lot of what these spiritual leaders are doing is just creating feel-good speeches. I truly believe that salvation is not blind faith or doing rituals. I think it's escaping the material entrapment, and finally just leaning into and returning into the spiritual realm. Access more flow states. And also, there's like this miasma or like a gunk removal that needs to take place. Miasma is like metaphysical gunk, basically, and you have to remove it through many different practices. So spirituality is conflating things with this modern clout chasing world, right? So that means we got to understand, if we're looking at just our superficial beauty, If you are closer to the Venus frequency and energy, you will understand your own beauty, your metaphysical beauty, way more. And it doesn't become just about the image. Of course, I know I'm a good-looking guy, of course, but that doesn't take away from my spirit. My spirit is equally, if not more, beautiful, and I will embrace that. If you are in spirituality and you're like just love and light and everything is okay, you need to do some shadow work, okay? You need to sit down one night, use the Tarantino method. On the top, what did I do wrong? Write down all the things that you've ever done wrong. Write it all out, the fears, the mistakes, all of it. Then write 100 ways to change my life. And then brainstorm that. 100 ways, keep going. If you can't sleep one night, dark night of the soul, this is what you gotta do. Listen, man, there's only two castes, male and female, and there's only one religion, humanity. But most of y'all got so much junk clogging up the system, it's like trying to download a high-speed upgrade with dial-up connection. It ain't happening. Stop feeding the ego, get out of resistance, focus on the good, marinate in presence, reprogram the subconscious, change the way you start your day and end your day, and own your power. I mean, is this really a difficult thing, or are we going to keep getting sidetracked by these weird agendas of Lucifer and Ahriman? You are not some weak, struggling human. You're not a victim of fate. You're a divine creator, and the moment you stop playing small and feeding your negativity and owning your life, and you really start owning your life, your reality shifts. Unplug, reset, flow. Your suffering is the glitch that's revealing what needs to be fixed in the code. Man! Woo-hoo-hoo! Of course, my voice is still in this kind of sore throat kind of mode, but man, I just feel like expressing myself. This is wonderful. All right, guys, thank you so much. Don't be like these spiritual sheep, yo. Let me spiritual trend hop. Let me buy some blessed malas from this website. Instead, start tapping in authentically, real. Come on now. It's time. The time for the real light masters. If you are a Reiki master, for instance, you got to be exploring your edge, right? As a Reiki master. Don't just do one program and then just think you're sorted. And I'm not telling you to chase your endless tail like the Ouroboros either. I'm telling you to understand that the Ouroboros is infinity. Ouroboros is a different topic though, so I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get it. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again.